Hello again, and welcome to a video with me, Coach Matt. Nice to see you guys again. I hope you've all been practicing your chess and slowly but surely becoming little chess masters. All right, guys, today we're going to talk about a bishop and pawn endgame. More specifically, we're going to be converting this endgame into a win. We can see, just if you have a quick look at the board in front of you, um, Black is 2 pawns ahead, these key pawns. We also know that these key pawns are passed pawns. What makes them passed pawns? Well, the fact that they have no opposition pawns blocking their line or their path to the promotion square. So the fact that this bishop is here getting in the way doesn't stop these pawns from being passed pawns. They are still passed pawns. It's only opposing pawns blocking that would change that. Okay, and we're going to just see sort of what technique you might apply to a position like this in order to win this position. All right, let's get into it. So, like I said, we need to find a way to get these pawns marching up the board. Okay, and we can see that that bishop is going to cause us a little bit of problems. This guy on b4. Of course, I'd love to just go c5, but that's absolutely not happening. We can see that both kings in the castle position. Normal good endgame technique is to activate the king. Of course, if I could fly this king, I might be like, ooh, let me land here somewhere on c4. That way I attack this, support this, and everyone's happy. So that's definitely one plan we can come up with that could help us. The other one is we could just use the bishop to try and help support these dark squares. Worth mentioning, if this was a light squared bishop, things would be a whole lot more challenging. Often opposite color bishop endgames can be drawn just because we have difficulty trading off the pieces, as well as then getting to, let's say in this case would be the light squares. We struggle to control those with only a dark square bishop. Any case, that's a story for another day. Let's see how we're going to go about winning this position. So I think is, like I said, two plans. The first one is to activate the king. The second one is to use the bishop. I'm going to go bishop here, and we're just going to see if we can get away with this for the time being. We're going to just go c5 next move. That's the purpose of this, to control the c5 square. Let's go king f1. That's a good idea for white. Also following a similar sort of plan, activate the king, try and use him to defend against this pawn avalanche. I'm deciding, should I go this way? Probably a3 makes sense, but it definitely allows us to gain a tempo here. Tempo being time, the Latin word for time. We now gain a move because we kind of get this move in for free, really. The white bishop has to move, and wherever it opts to move, we're already marching these pawns down the board. Looks like we're making great time. I think bishop c1 makes the most sense to me. Otherwise, we're going to have a similar issue when the pawn gets to c3. It looks like black's going to get another movement for free, and that's just not going to be good. So bishop c1. I'm going to go c4 here. King e2. Now I can see that it looks like this king is getting a little bit close for comfort here. It's possible that I might be able to still win by marching these pawns forward, but I think good endgame technique tells us that we should use the king to support. It's sort of it's just the right way to do things. So this could be risky, and I might, by playing this move, allow the opposition king to get in, and who knows, maybe ends up scooping up my pawns, and that would be tragic. That would be the worst way things could possibly go. So let's rather opt for a more slow and steady approach. Generally, that's a good idea with regard to any endgame position. No need to take any risk. Why would I want to potentially risk winning this position just to try and do it quickly? It's just not worth the risk at all. So I'm going to just play king f8. And quite simply, the plan is to just march the king into the game. Let's go king d1, see if the king can come this route. Okay, bishop d2. Now, I could defend it this way. Of course, he's attacking the b4 pawn. I could play, excuse me, king c5, defending the b4 pawn. I could even maybe go c3. I'm going to go king c5. We said we're just going to march the king in. Let's stick to our guns. Let's stick to our game plan. Interesting move. I'm just going to throw this in for good measure. This would be a tragic blunder. This will allow black to play c3. Yes, you guessed that it's a double attack. It's also a fork, and that means I'm going to win this bishop. Probably best practice would be to take. At least that way black gets, or white rather, gets the 2 pawns for the loss of the piece, which at least isn't too bad. Still absolutely lost. Probably the best move is just this. My hope is that I'm going to win these pawns, but I realize that there's a nice defensive resource that white has. Sneaky, sneaky. Any case, I've just got the extra bishop here. I'm just going to need to pick off some of these weaknesses as the position edges on. So bishop back, maybe h5, maybe g6. Trading off is perfectly fine. And I think this position will be a very easy win for black, being just a clean piece up. Let's go back. King b2, obviously a suspect choice. We're going to try and see if we can find something a little bit better for white to hold the line or hold the position. So bishop here, maybe the threat, not bad. Let's go, I don't know, I think c3 is a good idea. Happy with that. I just was a bit worried. I'm like, yes, I want to go in here. But then I was just had a panic moment. I thought I'm losing the bishop here for a second. So we got the check. We're going to have to move somewhere where we will be defending our bishop. Is it a good idea for white to trade off the pieces? Absolutely not. Trading off the pieces here is just a no-no. But sadly, it doesn't seem like there's much other option. I'll get into that in a moment. If you trade the pieces here, it's safe to say that white is lost. And that's it. Whenever you're winning, guys, trade those pieces off. Whenever you're losing, do your best to not trade them off. So the point here is that if he takes, then it's just these 2 pawns ahead. King b3, king c5. If king c2, then king c4, and these pawns just march forward like this. There's just no way you could hope to save this position. With white. The only problem here is that if white opts to move the bishop back, I was thinking, yes, I'm going to go king c4 and b3 in any case. But now I see this is happening. Bishop takes f2, and then more things are dropping. So bishop f2, that's the price you had to pay to not trade off. h5, king c4, which is what we wanted to play anyway, holding these squares and threatening this b3 move, which is probably just going to win black the game. So let's say bishop f4, b3, like we said. King b1. Of course, good practice. Bring the king in. That's a good idea. I like that move because you attack something and you gain more space. e5. Now bishop e3 definitely looks like a beautiful move here. I don't want to trade the pieces as white, but again, he's giving me very little choice. If I do, of course, white is lost completely. If I don't, white is probably also lost completely. We're going to see now why black just pushes c2, and we can see that this square is defended. So after b2, pawn c1, queen, and oopsie, we've got a attack on the king. The king can't take the queen, worth mentioning. The bishop's defending. So king b3. Okay, and then from here, it should be a fairly elementary win. Trade off the bishops, win the bishop. Or you can probably even just go straight for the checkmate. I don't think there's a lot of ways that white can defend this. I see if king here, bishop c1 is already mate. Maybe this. Queen b3. If king a1, queen b2 is mate. If king c1, queen c2 is mate. And that is all. Guys, let's just recap this quickly before I put an end to this video. I just want to make sure that we all understand the key concepts here. So Guys, remember, we got the two passed pawns. We need to march them up the board steadily, and we need to try and find ways to defend this square. We also touched on the fact that activating the king and using the king in the end game, absolutely essential, guys. It's a must in just about any end game position. And then another very important point is the trading off of the pieces. Don't trade off pieces if you're behind on material, whereas if you're ahead on material, you are more than happy to do it. And of course, trade-off of the bishops here would automatically pretty much make the game done. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys are practicing hard. Please keep up the good chess work, look after yourselves, and until next time, bye-bye.